How's it guys, Munash here, and once again we have an Alliance War video with my latest rank 4 6-star, and this time it is Valkyrie. So this was kind of inevitable. I just didn't think it would take me this long to actually acquire the champ, but finally I have her as a 6-star, so I awakened her, took her to SIG 200 and then rank 4. Cause she is just that good. I mean, her playstyle makes her very versatile, especially in stuff like Alliance War. She can do quite a bit. And then of course there's the synergy she has with Mr. Negative, although it helps Negative a lot more than it helps her. But even Mr. Negative doesn't really need it for Alliance War type of health pools, although it can be useful for certain fights or if you're running a less stacked Negative. But a rank 4 with boost should be clearing pretty much all the fights, except for the boss node in one special 2. But hey, rank 5s are practically here now, so maybe that might change when we start seeing them more. And also I tend to use the special 3 more than the special 2 in Alliance War because I run path 5. In fact, I think I only had one fight where I used the special 2. So maybe I'll show that one, but I mainly just want to focus on the Valkyrie fights for this video. So first up on path 5, node 2, we have Immortal Hulk with Ebb and Flow Knockdown, right back at it, and Force of Will. So this should be a fairly straightforward fight for Valkyrie. I just need to knock him down before I drop my special 2 so I can get a lot more damage with the passive fury, from the knockdown node. So how I use Valkyrie is pretty straightforward. I don't try to invert my combos at the perfect time to optimize the amount of hits I get to get the most amount of buffs in the least amount of time. So I just find that overcomplicates things because you have to watch your combos and you're more reliant on AI behavior because you can't always just switch with a light ending combo if the opponent is just blocking. Generally, I only start inverting after I get my first 3 pierce buffs, since those are the most important for damage. Especially when you're not fighting bleed immune, because she will actually do an extra burst of bleed damage whenever you hit the block. And I do try to do most of my hits through block, and not just for damage, but it does help for power control and make it easier to make sure you have a decent amount of buffs by the time you get to your special 2. And I won't always throw my heavy attack before the special 2 depending on how much health the opponent has left. Like if I want to keep my buffs, then ideally it's better not to. But in this fight there is right back at it, so he goes debuff immune on knockdown. So I didn't actually get to place the intimidate debuff on him, so I did not lose any of my buffs. Only unfortunate thing is I just threw my special 2 not into his block, so it did not do that much damage. But the second special 2 did a lot more damage since he was blocking, and it took him down to his immortality phase, which I couldn't bypass since he does have Force of Will. But very easy to play around and not much left now. Just gonna knock him down one more time and then drop a combo on his block. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So pretty simple stuff. I think I only inverted my combo once and it wasn't really necessary, but I figured I might as well at that point. Because you do get more attack from that Fury passive based on how many buffs you have. But even with just 3 pierces, the special 2 on a block can do a decent chunk, and then you still have the Fury for a couple more seconds. So that's why I just prioritize on getting those 3 pierces first. Generally I'll only invert early when I want the stun immunity from the SIG ability. So now we're facing a Sasquatch with Ebb and Flow Knockdown and Heavy Hitter. So this is the one fight where the Valkyrie synergy came into play, and honestly it wasn't really needed, but it might have made the fight a little bit faster. Maybe. It's actually hard to tell if my one special 2 would have taken him out, but I didn't fully optimize the damage of it. I could have had one more dark energy, I could have had at least one fury buff, and of course I'm not boosted right now, so in a serious war I wouldn't really worry about this. But if you're running like a 6-star rank 2 or 5-star negative, or you just mess up somewhere along the line, like you don't get the right conversion in time, and then your special 2 ends up doing a lot less damage, then maybe you can squeeze out enough damage from the synergy to make sure that one special 2 is still enough. Either that or maybe some sort of damage reduction fight, like maybe if you're fighting Thing and somehow you trigger protection just before the special 2. Those are the scenarios where I can see the synergy being useful in war. And in this fight I was just evading for the sake of evading, as I often do, until I realized, oh yeah, I got the Valkyrie synergy when I saw the debuffs pause, and I only paused them twice but was able to finish the fight with about 25% left on those degens. So if I was doing the corner play, mixing evade and dex, I probably could have killed this Sasquatch like 5 times over. Although it is Ebb and Flow Knockdown, so protection would have just came back and purified all my debuffs in a few seconds. Alright, so now we're in section 2 and I have a Kitty Pryde with Ebb and Flow Intercept and Sadist. A decent matchup for Valkyrie, I would say, although I made one small slip up, one almost fatal mistake, and I wasn't even trying to, but it just sort of happened because that's how the AI can be sometimes. And now she keeps on going back and forth as if I'm using her, and then I try to hit a block and then I of course intercept accidentally, which means I miss and take some damage and get hit by a big old critty. So that's a very annoying amount of health to lose in a second. I'm gonna have to be a lot more careful. Basically, I only make sure I go for the block when she isn't gonna just randomly dash at me if she has at least 3 prowesses. But now I should have the fight under control. I mean, it's just hitting block at this stage. She can't gain any prowess buffs if I don't actually hit or parry her, so that's pretty safe. Then once I have my 3 PS buffs, I'll go for the intercept, and then parry heavy, and then drop my special 2 into a block, which should be much easier with the intimidate debuff. So now I'm doing pretty good damage to the block, and she does have 3 prowesses, but I just gotta bait a special 1 and block that first hit to remove them all. Oh, and I didn't even notice she had recoil. So now we have one more fight in section 2, and it's gonna be a Peni Parker with Inflow Intercept, Mighty Charge, and Crumbling Armor. Now I must admit, this fight did take a while, almost 3 minutes actually, because I played it pretty safe due to my Valkyrie's health being pretty low. And Peni, being the annoying defender that she is, did not help with the annoying blockable damage, particularly from the special 2 and of course the random heal blocks. Because I was hoping to actually gain some health with Crumbling Armor, because I can just hit block and let the armor break debuff just stay there for a while. And when you bait enough special 1s, she gets enough charges, then you start to get power burn, which can also just drain your health a little bit. But again, the biggest source of health loss was on me, because I made the silliest mistake, the rookiest of errors, by trying to punish the heavy attack halfway through the animation, thus getting clapped by that last hit as if I'm fighting her for the first time. And of course it just had to be a crit. 16,700 damage. Like, my goodness, dude, I'm on the brink of death right now. 1% health with the heal block passive, not even a debuff but a passive, so I can't even purify that. And I for one love having access to passive heal blocks, but when it's against you, it's like, wow, what do you do if you're not Gore? That was actually scary going to 1% health like that, but it was totally my fault. So at this point I wasn't sure I was going to be able to recover from this fight, because it's not looking very good. I have not done any meaningful damage and practically on life support at this stage. I was just hoping that I could get a bit more health from the armor break, although it was starting to look better once I got the intercept and dropped my special 2. Managed to do a decent chunk after that. So now things are starting to look a lot more favorable, I must say. The only issue now is that her spider charges are getting quite high, so she will place a power burn debuff when she throws special 1. And initially I thought, yeah, I'll probably just purify it, I mean 90% chance at least. But then I did not purify, then I started thinking, power burn as an effect just burns power, but it does inflict damage based on how much power was burnt. Initially I just thought of it as power control, like power steal or power lock, you know, those are non-damaging. However, power burn does have a damaging effect to it, so perhaps it is a damaging debuff, which is why it's not getting purified. Also, I'm not sure exactly how that ability scales, because it's only up to 90% based on a block proficiency. So what's the upper limit of that? Is it having 3 bulwarks, since that is the maximum before they start to expire, or what? Because I noticed when I had less than 3 bulwarks, I was not purifying the armor break more often than not. And even when I had 3, I think it did creep in one time towards the end. So yeah, it's not the most reliable purifying ability, but it's better than nothing, I guess. I just wouldn't rely on it for a serious fight where I need to purify. Ironically though, for this fight, it not being so reliable was one of the main reasons I was able to survive for so long and actually gain a lot of health back after getting hit by the heavy attack. So I finally get that final intercept with her shield being down, so one more combo through the block and she finally goes down. So yeah, a bit of a long one, and now we have one more fight left which won't be half as long. And it is against Wong with Conflictor, Combat Deja Vu Prowess, and Prowess Puncture. He did have suicides, but Conflictor removes the bleed and poison, so I think it was just 20% health loss from recoil. So this is a pretty good matchup for Valkyrie and just showcases her utility quite well. First of all, she never needs to place a debuff, not even a parry stun, because you're just hitting blocks, so you don't even need to get those openings. So that just takes Conflictor out of the equation. Even Spike 99 with synergy still needs to place another Wither, because the first one will get purified at the start of the fight, and one can purify Wither on his own if you don't place it at the right time. So being able to completely ignore the node without even relying on a Wax pre-fight is quite a benefit. Then there's also Combat Deja Vu Prowess and Prowess Puncture, which you can completely ignore triggering if you're only doing blocked hits. So essentially it's like this Wong has no nodes, and on top of that, I don't even need to worry about the annoying Wong abilities, like when he goes unstoppable by throwing a heavy attack, or when your buffs expire when he's in that blue mode, cause she can completely ignore all unstoppable effects with her Sig ability. And even towards the end, when Wong has at least 90 energy, I don't even need to worry about the passive burst damage he deals cause I'm just hitting block. I could just parry heavy or parry heavy because of Conflictor to reset his energy, but even that is unnecessary with Valkyrie as long as you are just hitting his block. So pretty simple stuff, and that's gonna be it for this one. I've always liked Valkyrie, but I'm actually enjoying her more than I thought I would, so I am really happy with this rank up, and I'm sure I'll be using her quite a bit in the upcoming season of Alliance War. So yeah, I hope you guys found this interesting, and as always, thank you for watching, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.